Bird still chirping. He just left. Dang. He'll be back. So anyway, so here's what happened. So as I left off, I said, he said that those beings was like, if we lower our frequency anymore, it's gonna lower our consciousness, and we love ourselves too much to do that. So have your audience raise their frequency so we can kind of meet at an equal plane. Therefore we're not harming ourselves to contact you and then give you more information. Get what I'm saying? But we love ourselves too much to do that, to lower their consciousness. So I'm gonna have to take you guys back a little bit more before I was introduced to Dr. Joe Dispenza, before I was introduced to spontaneous remission. And it's 7 years ago, getting close to the date of being exactly, because November 15th is when I was diagnosed in 2012. And we're at November 12th right now. So I was diagnosed. I made a decision not to take any medications. I made the decision to change my lifestyle, change my state of mind, change the people. Hold on a second, my hand's starting to go again. Hold on. Oh, fuck. I'm hoping that shit too long. Okay. So here we go. All right. Decided to change my lifestyle, which I did. Went vegan, went hardcore. Yeah, I went hard body karate with that, literally. And, the willpower was strong and everything. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but so 2013, my mother found for me, and she's on the East Coast, but she found for me an MS group that was right in my backyard I didn't even know about. She gave me the phone number and I called. I linked up with those people and I was going there all the time. I only tell you that because I explained my dream to my group. So I was doing that every Saturday, the second Saturday of every month. So grew good relationships with them from 2013. And then it was in 2014 I had a dream that I normally have since I was a kid up until I moved to California, then it stopped. And then I never dreamt about, in my house again, but this reoccurring dream happened around the very first time before it became a reoccurring dream. It was just a nightmare. I was about 4 or 5 years old. And I was coming out of my bedroom, ready to walk up the stairs to get upstairs. And I think I reached about the second or third step where I can see we had a landing with old school mirrors, those little square blocks of mirrors. It's about a foot long each side. And it had these gold vine things on it or whatsoever. But anyway, so I look into the mirror and I see a shadow and I turn around and I look up and it's looking down at me. And I'm frightened as a child because I had never seen nothing like it. It was just a shadow with kind of like I explained this in the recording I made, the audio recording I made. But it was kind of like you ever seen a car at night when it's really thick with fog, right? So all you see is a glare of lights. You don't really see it, and it shines out it goes this way, right? So that's all I saw. Sure was a shadow, a huge shadow with those types of eyes, and there's light coming from them. And my 4-year-old, 5-year-old brain couldn't identify what that was. I just know the feeling that came from it was just extremely. I was frightened, and I couldn't move, and I can feel the hate. I can feel the evil or someone wanting to do me harm. And as I'm looking up, right? So anyway, I remember I woke up from that dream, and I'm not sure if I went into my parents' room at the time, or if I don't recall. I just remember being extremely scared. That's about it. Okay. I had that dream, God knows how many times, right? But as I got older, started visualizing. That was after having that dream that first time. All the other times, I've always went a little bit further, right? And I'm either floating or whatever, but always trying to escape and always running. Anyhow, but I never saw that shadow again. It was always something from my experience, meaning from I know what I want to say. It's not coming out right now. But from pop culture, that means horror movies and stuff like that, and all those images started to take place in my dream. Whenever I would have that reoccurring dream, it would be Dracula, it would be the Wolfman, it would be an alien, it would be anything that I thought was scary. That's what it would be, and they were trying to come after me and get me, right? So fast forward, I'm older, I'm adult, I'm in Jersey, and then I would have the dream, one to the blue, and then, okay, always dreaming back to Brooklyn, and because to me that's always my home. And then I moved to California, and then I never had that dream ever again. And I've been out here now for 15 years, I don't know, something like that, 15 years. And so when I was diagnosed, I got diagnosed in 2012. 2013, I started going to my MS group in Downey, Rancho Los Amigos Hospital. And then the dream happened, and that happened around 2014. And I believe it was around the summer of 2014. I don't remember the date. I probably have to ask one of the group members, one of the original group members, facilitators. They'll probably remember it more than I would. So I had that recurring dream. The only difference with that reoccurring dream, was that it was the flip side of it. Instead of me being that little kid, I was now the person upstairs. And the dream starts off me walking into the apartment and rushing to the rushing to the kitchen. Ran into the kitchen because I was extremely thirsty, drank water, came back out and noticed that the front door was open. I was like, oh, hell no. So I go close the door, I lock it. And then right there we have a closet, which is at the top of the stairs. So I open up the door and I'm checking inside, making sure nobody's hanging in behind the clothes and stuff like that. And then I come out the closet and then I close it and I turn around and I look down and I see this shadow with them eyes I told you about before. So, but this time it wasn't big in stature, it was small in stature. But in my dream, I'm thinking it's some type of evil spirit or whatever spirit it is. And I'm like, normally when I do have dreams about, spirits or something coming towards me and I can't identify what it is, the first thing is like, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here. I'm going to kill you. Get out of here. Leave me the fuck alone. Everything is hostile. A lot of anger, right? Hatred. Like, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out. And that's only because I was afraid. I was scared, right? So what you do, you start becoming aggressive like a dog. A dog's only barking and being aggressive towards you because they're scared, but they go into protection mode. You want to preserve your life. So that's what I was doing. And I was emitting it out to that shadow, and all I can see was these eyes looking up at me. And my wife woke me up. And the reason why my wife woke me up is because I was talking in my sleep. Get get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I'll kill you. Get the fuck. That's what she said. I sounded like. Wow. Crazy. So I get up out of bed. My wife goes back to sleep. I think it's like 4 something in the morning, 5 o'clock. I'm just trying to decipher the whole thing. I start typing it down and on my phone, and so I didn't forget it. And then I was like, yo, I gotta call my brother. So I call my brother up, and I'm like, yo, G, here's the dream. And I told him the dream exactly the way how I told you. And then after I told him that, I was like, yo, you know what I think it is? I've been having that reoccurring dream, but on the flip side of it as a kid all my life. You know what I mean? And always looking up. But the very first initial dream that I had, and it always took the shape of different types of monsters for me, right? Things I was afraid of. Because that's what I could associate it with. But that very first dream didn't have. I can't hold things with my right hand. I was grabbing it too tight. All right. So that very first dream, very first dream, I was like, that could have been me. The me now talking to my younger self then. And the dream that I had in 2014, me, like you get what I'm saying? They both were me. Both of them are me from different perspectives. And then I start thinking, of course, you got the subatomic particles, time and place. They can be at any point. They can be at 2 places at the same time. You know what I mean. Pardon me. My brain is not working right now. And I'm trying to stay focused. So I'm telling my brother this, and I'm explaining to him and everything that I knew in regards to quantum physics and stuff like that. And I like I said, I got quantum physics, but I didn't get it. So I couldn't intelligently express what I was thinking at that time. But he understood it because he follows that as well. So we before I got off the phone with him, I said, you know what, the next time I have, that's exactly it goes. I said, the next time I have that dream, I'm going to have a conversation with my younger self. Because I really believed it was me when I was 4 years old. So move forward. I would say, I think that Saturday I had, it was a Saturday, and that Saturday was the second Saturday of whatever month that was, and I told my group, we all try to analyze the dream. They all try to analyze the dream a certain way, but I told them I really believe that's what it is, and I'm going to have a conversation with myself when it happens again, because I got a strong feeling it will. Lo and behold, to my surprise, it did happen again, but not the way how I thought it was going to happen again. About 3 weeks later, 3 weeks later. And I also told my wife as well, if you ever hear me talking in my sleep again, don't wake me. Let me go through the motions. So she said, okay. Anyway, let me put this kind of on my stomach here. So, I'm dreaming, but this time I'm not in Brooklyn. I'm actually in the house that we lived in, the townhouse that we lived in during that time. We're sitting on a sectional. We had a sectional chair, and I was sitting on the edge of the sectional chair. And we had a fireplace, a gas fireplace with a mantle that was one whole mirror. And I'm sitting on the edge of the sectional. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror. When I looked at myself in the mirror, I started looking. I'm not sure if I'll just keep it going with the dream. So I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and as I look at myself in the mirror, I start to notice something with the eyes. And I'm like, wait a second. So I jumped up really quickly. And as I jumped up really quickly, my reflection in the mirror didn't jump up as fast as I did. And I was like, oh shit, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, get out of here, get out of here. And he was just looking at me like, when I jumped up at first, he was looking at me like, yeah, you get it, yeah. But I was screaming and like, get the fuck out of here. And then he started walking. So I walked towards the kitchen where we have the entrance to the garage, and that's the main entrance that we normally would come in and out of the house anyway. Never through the front door, rarely through the front door. So he walks towards the kitchen, and I kind of follow him, but I'm letting him be in front of me, like maybe a good 6 feet, right? And he puts his hand on the doorknob, he turns the doorknob, he opens the door, and he closes it and says, no, I'm not going nowhere. And I go, like my heart and everything just fell like, oh shit, I felt so weak. So there was some tomato cans, and I know this is really descriptive, but I remember it. I wrote it down when it happened, after it happened, so I wouldn't forget. And there was some like tomato paste cans on the counter, separated the kitchen from the living room, and I tried throwing it at him, and I had no power. The thing just dropped right in front of me. And when I realized I had no power, I just had to surrender. It was like, yo, fuck it. I was like, alright, man, what the fuck do you want from me? Exactly what I said verbatim. What the fuck do you want from me? So he walks in front of me, but back in front of the mirror where the fireplace. Excuse me. The fireplace. And he goes, I'm just here to make sure you're not going to kill yourself. And I go, what? Kill myself? I love myself too much to kill myself. Then he bends over. He bends over and he looks at me, goes, and he's pointed here. He goes, deep inside. Poof, I woke up. Freaked me the fuck out. Of course, I shared it with my group, shared it with my family, and it just freaked me out. And I'm like, well, I want to kill myself because I'm not going to do what I wanted to do and what I put out there, which was reverse my diagnosis. 7 years. This is 2014. I'm 2 years in my diagnosis. Hold on, let me switch. So I'm 2 years into my diagnosis, and I'm like, fuck. That always stayed on my consciousness, right? And I was like, I can't kill myself. I'm not a suicidal person. I don't get depressed like that. I was like, no, that's not me. So just analyzing that. But it was that came into place. And the whole mirror thing, which is kind of funny because my sister and I, who's 3 years older than I am, when I needed somebody to play with, she would let me play with her or I wouldn't play with her because I was the youngest. So I was like, hey, look, can I play with you? Yeah, well, we're going to do what I'm going to do. We used to stand in front of that mirror on the landing of the stairs. And she used to tell me, the people on the other side of the mirror, they're pretending to be just like you. They're not you. So we gotta do everything that we can possibly do to see if we can catch them like moving slower than us. And that's exactly what I did in that dream, right? But not only that, my eldest brother, who's 11 years older than me, Chuck, he passed my 18th year, the year I graduated from high school, and in '95, and right before my birthday, and I used to dream about him. And whenever I dreamed about him, well, I still dream about him every now and then, but not often. When I do dream about him, it's always like, hey, yo, where you been? Everybody's missed you, man. What's going on? And I'm talking to him like, he's not gone. And he would say a word. He would always just look at me with these eyes. And then I would jump like, ho, yo, Yo, man, we miss you. We love you. Everybody love you. You get what I'm saying? And then the dream would move on to something else. But he would never, verbalize with me, converse with me, excuse me. And, it was just, it was freaky because that's what it reminded me of. Like when I saw the eyes and the reflection of the mirror in my dream of myself, I knew something was up, and that's why I jumped up really quick, like holy cow. And the image of myself literally got off the chair very slow, like, yeah, you get it now. I told you that dream because of what I heard from Dr. Joe Dispenza earlier today about the beings that he got in contact with when he was under meditation, right? He communicated with, and how they asked him to have his audience raise their frequency because it would cause them harm to lower that frequency any longer, and it would change their consciousness. And the key words they said there was, we love ourselves too much to do that. And that's exactly what I said to my mirror image, right? He said, I'm just here to make sure you don't kill yourself. And I said, I love myself too much to do so. Now, I took it literally. Hang myself, shoot myself, whatever the situation may be, drink a pill, die, whatever. That's how I took it literally. And I'm like, that can't happen. But it wasn't until I heard him say that, and that's when I got it. And then it made sense, it clicked. I've always told you, 7 years ago when I got diagnosed, I made a decision to change my life, and I said I was going to be vegan for 7 years. 7 years to see where I got. My goal is to reverse my diagnosis, reverse whatever lesions I have, reduce whatever lesions I have, and so that was my goal 7 years ago. 4.5 of those years were strong, and then no longer. 2.5 of those years, my diet, my frame of mind of thinking, everything started to just go. And I always thought I can come back and fix it, but the more I kept redoing the same thing over and over again. What I was actually doing was lowering my frequency. Now this I didn't know then at the time, right? I'm thinking diet. I'm not thinking frequency. Understand? I've lowered my frequency so low, that I was damn near killing myself. Therefore, what happened to me in 1 year, herniated disc, a herniated disc, don't know how I got it, okay? Making my thumb go numb, all the way down to my thumb, and shoulder, all the way down, go numb, just my thumb. A slight tear, what the doctors think was a slight tear in my tendon. Then also a sprain. I'm just gonna call it a calf muscle area that holds up my. I can't think right now, and I'm gonna get frustrated trying to, so I'm just gonna move along. But my right side, my whole entire right side, it was just my right side. Everything was on my right side. Ankle, calf, shoulder, at the C6, I had a herniated disc. Then what happens? Boom, I relapsed July 2nd. I'm in the ER. I think my heart's gonna collapse on me because I can't breathe, and it just... I recover quickly. Then I relapse again, October 29th. And this time I'm open to taking just a steroid because, my doctor wasn't available at the time. My neurologist wasn't available at the time. So I saw someone, and then the nurse was like, oh, he's the best guy. And he's normally not at the clinic I go to. He's normally at another one, but he's there once a week. And the nurse was like, everybody loves Dr. I don't know, I'm not going to say his name, but everyone loves this doctor. You have the best one, trust me. So when I saw him on the 29th, you know, because on the 28th, yeah, I was having issues. That whole weekend, I was having issues. But when I went to go, we went there, made an appointment. He was the only available appointment. He saw me, and we had a conversation. And his words and everything that he said made everything, you know, very understandable. And he entertained our questions and our concerns, and he did so without prejudice or without looking at us as if, well, I'm a doctor and you're a client, so I'm right and you're wrong. He was very open. So when he said, you know, listen, the steroids itself can help you recover faster. It works for some, it doesn't work for others. And the position that I was in with the symptoms, it was like, yo, my whole lower extreme, like all the way down to my left side before it really got to my right side. And then I was having issues like using the restroom, like bowel movements and bladder. So at least not feeling it. You know, I would go, but I can't feel it. And, or no control, I should say. I can feel it, but had no control on pushing it out. So he told us, well, I can prescribe you an MRI, but let's have you go to the ER and let them, because I thought it was the herniated disc pushing up against something. So he said, well, let's have them do the MRI. Do an MRI, they'll be able to see if it's the herniated disc pushing up on a nerve or if it's due to your MS. And so to find out it was due to the MS, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this steroid. And I took the steroid. They gave me 2 dosages of it. And the first dose, you know, I tasted as it went in my body. And it didn't do anything. The next day, they administered another dose at 2 o'clock. That one made me nauseous. And then for days, I was out of it, and then my symptoms just kept getting worse. It kept building day by day. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And of course, you know the rest of the story. So, with Dr. Joe DeSantis, what I come to realize is that everything that took place had to take place in order for me to reach this place in time, this moment in time, and be here and talking to you right now. And I must say, every day I'm noticing new things. I'm getting stronger. I'm feeling changes in my body. I'm feeling changes in my personality. Every day, every time I meditate, I become a new person. And I see what my future looks like. And I know it's changing everything. It is changing. Like, I know there will be no lesions in my brain or spine in 6 months. Period. That's in my heart, I know. I can't see it any other way. Because I've already seen it. I've already experienced it. I already had the conversation. It's already happened. I'm just waiting for time to catch up. You get what I'm saying? Man, that's beautiful. Anyway, folks, I'm going to sign off. Stay inspired, stay believing, and know that you can heal yourself from within. I'm out.